Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome back to another day. Come over to the farm this morning. We're going to plant our watermelons and our cantaloupe. Kind of brought some things over here yesterday from our home in Indiana. I didn't really do a lot of filming on that because it's just a lot of driving and stuff, and wasn't really planning on doing much yesterday, but I thought I'd go ahead and get that out of the way of getting the equipment back over here. So we have the planter back over here, the 6410, and the sprayer. So what I am going to do this morning is we're going to back the 6410 out, unhook the sprayer, then hook up to the planter. I did go ahead yesterday and switch out the meters on the planter. We're going to be using our precision planting pumpkin meters to plant the watermelon and cantaloupe. I'll try to, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description or maybe on the channel. I went over, I think it was a while back, a video on what the difference in the meters are, as far as from the corn pickup meters and the bean cups and the precision planting pumpkin meters. But the pumpkin meters are just a modified finger pickup corn meter. So I took them apart and showed you the difference in that, but again, I'll put that link in there, or we might go over it a little bit later. The watermelon, I did a kind of an experiment, I think it was a couple years ago, where we planted cantaloupe seed with the precision meters, and it worked really well. The cantaloupe seed is similar to pumpkin seed, but not exact. And it's the same thing with the watermelon seed. It's not the exact same as your pumpkin seed, but I believe, you know, it's still going to work, and it will allow us to direct seed the watermelon and the cantaloupe into the ground. So getting them out a little bit early so we have them ready a little bit earlier. So yesterday, or the day before yesterday, when we were trying to plant some tomatoes, I was talking about the lift arm cylinder leaking. This is the lift arm cylinder, and as you can see here, it's leaking a little bit. It really doesn't leak when there's no weight on the lift arms here, so that's allowing us to go ahead and use it. But before I attach anything else to these three-point hitch here, I'm going to have to replace the seals in this cylinder, which involves, you know, getting this pin out here and the one down there. So it's hard telling how long those pins have been in there. So that's probably going to be a pretty big challenge to get those out. But who knows? They may come out easy. That would just be amazing if that happened. So we've got everything pulled out. I still got to switch over the transmission, but these are the type of watermelons that we are going to be planting. We're planting 3 different types. We're planting Fascination. This is a very popular seedless watermelon. Gets about 15 to 20 pounds. It's a green, you know, stripe type watermelon. We're also planting Sweet Gem, which is also another seedless type watermelon, and it is another, it's like a smaller, you know, I think probably about 15 pounds is about how big they get. But if you've ever seen a sugar baby, these look like sugar babies, so they're really dark and they're all the same color all the way around. They're a really good tasting watermelon. You know, to me, they're just as good as a sugar baby, but they're seedless. So, and this is Sangria. This is a much bigger, it's like a 20 to 25 pound melon. It's a oblong shaped watermelon. So we have to plant the Sangria with the seedless, because when you're dealing with seedless watermelons, you have to have a pollinator type melon planted along with it. So this is what we're planting the Sangria, because this is a actually seeded watermelon. Now another thing about these watermelons is they all have different maturity dates. This is an 83-day melon, this is an 80-day melon, and this is a 79-day melon. So technically we plant these all at the same time. You know, they're still, even though it's a small amount of days, there's the time that they're going to be ripe is a little bit different. We might plant an acre of these today, or a half acre. I haven't decided yet. I know I should probably already have that figured out, right? I just don't want to have too many melons coming on all at the same time. So that's my thought process behind that. When it comes to these seeds, since again we have to have the pollinator melon in there with it, what we're going to do, we're just going to mix all these seeds together, and that's way, you know, the pollinator melons will be out there, you know, mixed in with the rest of the melons, and it won't be that big of a deal because they all look different, and they're different sizes. So like your Sweet Gem, you're going to be able to know what a Sweet Gem is. You're going to know what the Fascination melon is, and you're going to know what the Sangria is, because it's an oblong melon, not a round melon like the other ones are. On our Cantaloupe, we're going to be planting Aphrodite, however you want to say it, and Sugar Cube. That's what we've primarily planted in the past. Aphrodite is a very popular melon, and your Sugar Cubes are like a small softball size melon. If you've never had a Sugar Cube, they're by far my favorite cantaloupe out there. It's like a little breakfast melon. It's like a personalized size melon, because they don't get real big. Again, they get about the size of a softball, but they are super sweet. They are super good. So if you've never tried one, make sure you try one if you can find them. So when it comes to spacing for the watermelons, we are going to be doing, it's going to be 60-inch wide rows, and there's going to be 4 foot in between the plants. Now the 4 foot in between the plants, the way this planter transmission is and the way that the meters are set up, that is the closest distance I can get, and I believe anything else, that's about the only that's the one drawback about this. I think that's the only setting I can get out of this transmission is 4 feet apart in between the plants, without getting a fancy different cog to put on this. But 4 feet is fine, it's plenty. 60 inches wide rows and 4 foot in between the plants. That's the way we normally plant them, and we have real good luck with that. But what we'll do, we just I'll have to move this box down here, switch these out. But there's 30 inches in between each of these, so 30, 60, so that'll give us our 60 inches there. I just have to move that box over. So we're going to get at it. Now you may be looking at that seed and thinking, well, that is not a lot of seed, and you know, how's that going to plant an acre? The seed that I poured into that container was roughly 2,000 seed. So that should be more than enough to plant an acre, or the half acre that we're going to maybe plant today. Should be plenty. I got a little extra just in case something happened. Maybe you have to replant. And a lot of the packaging, you can buy seed in smaller amounts, but normally when we buy seed, we buy it in bulk, like 500 seed count packets or more. It's usually cheaper that way, and then if we've got a little bit, left over, we'll just save it to next year, or maybe find a place to plant it, who knows. So we've got everything ready, I believe. I do need to check the hydraulic fluid on the tractor. And it looks like I need to add some hydraulic fluid. So we're going to do that before we go to the field. If I were a GoPro that fell off the back of the planter, where would I be? Also, if it gets buried in the ground somewhere, does that mean I'm going to have a lot more GoPros that sprout up this fall? We could probably make more money selling GoPros than cantaloupes and watermelons. Just saying. Oh. Hi! Still recording. Alright, so we went ahead and we planted about 8 rows of watermelons. So now we're going to go ahead and switch over and plant our cantaloupes. We'll plant about 8 rows of those. That should put us about halfway over in this field. And we'll plant the rest in a week or so whenever these come up. Alright, so we made it back to the barn, getting ready to fill up the sprayer with chemical. We already got water in it. We brought that from over at home the other day. Normally, I know you've heard me talking about in the past, as far as when it comes to pre-emergent herbicides, we want to get it on before we plant or right after we plant. Normally I like to get it on before we plant, but in the past with planting pumpkins and stuff, especially last year, for whatever reason, we had a real problem with pigweed, and we sprayed our pre-plant herbicide before we actually planted, and it was right down the rows where the planter tracks went, or the actual planter units went, that where all the weeds came up. So it was like the planter incorporated the herbicide maybe too deep or something like that, so it wouldn't activate. But we had a real problem with pigweed. So I'm hoping by spraying it right now, directly after we've planted, that we won't run into that this year. What we're spraying a combination of a couple different herbicides. We're using Strategy, which is a combination of Command and Curbit put together. It's especially for Curbit type crops, such as your pumpkins, watermelons, cantaloupe, whatever. And we're also going to be using Dual mixed in with that as well. So hopefully that's going to give us a good weed control program on the melons, because we really don't want to, we can cultivate, we can chop out, but the more that we can control weeds, the better. It's just going to be better all around. We'll have better yields. Won't be fighting the weeds and things like that. It's less labor intensive of us actually physically going out there and hoeing the field itself. So I'm going to go ahead and get my gloves on and get the water agitating, and then we're going to mix these chemicals and then head to the field. Wrong gear. Alright, so got everything planted, sprayed for today. Got the sprayer rinsed out. I didn't do a deep clean or anything like that, but just ran some clean water through it so we wouldn't have any chemicals set up in it or anything, because it's I don't know when I'll be using it next. It'll probably be when we spray the ground out here to plant pumpkins, which is over a month from now. So we won't plant pumpkins till about June 15th, June 20th, something like that. So we've got quite a bit of time before we do that. I haven't actually even put fertilizer in this ground yet, so we still have to put work the fertilize in. I did run the field cultivator over this field yesterday. There's 5 acres in this field, so this is where we're going to have our pumpkins. It was just getting some weeds in it, and when weeds get to be big later on, they don't work up as well. So I want us to go ahead and knock them down. I'll probably only till that one more time after we put the fertilizer on, and then spray it, and then we'll plant. So we're pretty much well done over here at this farm for I'd say at least a week or so, because we have already planted everything we need to plant. Probably the next thing we'll be planting over here is more sweet corn once the sweet corn that we already have planted emerges. So if that sweet corn emerges in the next few days like I think it will, we'll probably be planting more sweet corn at the beginning of next week. But in the meantime, like I said, it's supposed to be raining tomorrow, and even if it doesn't, we're pretty much well caught up on planning for a little bit. I need to address the leak issues on this tractor, the cylinders, lift cylinders, the steering cylinder, and apparently we have a new leak, which I think I know what that leak is. It's a terrible design on these on the 6210, 6410 on this series of tractors, but we'll look into that once we get it over home. So we got everything loaded up. We're ready to head back to Indiana. I believe that's going to about do it for this video. Probably going to quit a little bit early today. Autumn's got a soccer game tonight, so got to go to that, and we're just going to take this home, unload it, and probably work on it tomorrow or whenever it stops raining. If it rains, who knows. But also just want to say thanks, guys. We do appreciate you all watching. We hope that you're enjoying the content and you're learning some stuff about what goes on the farm. Make sure you comment down below for something that you'd like to know more about or whatever, and we'd like to make that happen for you. So, but make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.